I'm Mark Oppold. We welcome Sherry Kujajak, AARP volunteer from the great state. They wrote that on there. I think you'd agree. The great state of Alabama.
Well,
you got a football team, I've heard, down there.
A couple of them. Just a couple.
Good to see you again. You've not been here since we moved to our new studio.
I have, yeah. It's beautiful.
What do you think?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and disasters, boy, talk about down in the Gulf, Alabama, right along that area. They've been, this is hurricane season for one, so you're right there as well.
Just get caught in that little bowl where the hurricane's coming one way, the cold weather another, and then that tornado just builds up for us.
Sherry, you've been involved in getting your community more prepared. Tell us about some of the things that FEMA has for folks that...
So we're in that month, actually, right now. So September is our National Preparedness Month, with September 30th being that prepare-a-thon that we do. So you can go to that same website we mentioned. FEMA helps organize it. You'll see that on your screen now. And go to that website. You can not only go there to find out what activities are going on in your area, but you can also go there if you want to organize an activity. So a couple of things we've just recently wrapped up in Huntsville, Alabama was the tornado and severe weather awareness, and came together and really talked about what was important. And then a home fire and life safety awareness. What's coming up next week in our areas, we're actually going to put kits together. So we've had a lot of other area organizations donate the items. We're going to work on putting those kits together for folks.
Very good. Some of the things maybe going on in your state, June, that have been very helpful, that are ongoing now to help people prepare.
Well, I mean, I think, you know, there are... And I actually did a search right before I came here today with the Prepare-a-thon to find out what's going on. There are events going on across the state where there are things like safety fairs, where individual communities are bringing people together to help people come by and see booths and help understand what the different things are they need to do to get ready, what the community resources are. And if you go on the website, you can plug in your state or your community and find out what kind of events and information fairs are happening so that you can be prepared. Hopefully this show is helping get you started on that path, but this will help connect you actually with community resources, which can be really helpful.
Brings up, I think, kind of a side issue for those who are disabled and maybe not mobile, that they can help themselves. We kind of touched on those caregivers, elderly or those that are disabled, need to be part of the plan.
Need to be a huge part of the plan. So it's really, you know, now is letting your local fire departments know, you know, you've got a person in that house that may need extra rescue assistance. Is real critical. The drugs are a great point June brought up, that you have that extra list for your pharmacist, because that's where your hospital, your first responders are going to call back to, are those pharmacy companies, to find out what they have. But definitely making a plan, making sure you've got those that are in power wheelchairs is what we run into the most. That you've got another way to transport that person if you're in a power wheelchair and that battery goes out. And you can pick those regular wheelchairs out.
About 3 minutes here to wrap things up here, so we're going to start with you, June, and your closing thoughts and comments you have.
Sure. One thing I think we really need to think about as we talk about disaster preparedness is the fact that most of the time when a disaster hits, we're not all at home at the same time with our family members unless it happens in the middle of the night. So we really need to think about a family communication plan and have this in place ahead of time, where you make sure that you have everybody's information and can be able to contact each other in the event of an emergency. So why is it important to have a plan like this? To be able to let family and friends know that you're okay. To be able to contact caregivers, as Sherry just mentioned, that's going to be critically important. You might have mom's phone number, but you need to have mom's caregiver's phone number. You need to be able to contact others, friends and relatives, perhaps out of state, to be able to let them know that you're doing okay. And to know, and this is really important, how you and your family are going to get back together if separated by a disaster. And if there are kids involved or people with disabilities, really to have a plan so that everybody knows how they're going to get to a safe place so that your family can be reunited.
Very good. Good to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Great information. About a minute or so here for you, Sherry, to wrap things up. And you have a story to share to kind of do that.
Happened today.
Today?
It happened today before I drove down from Huntsville, Alabama. Got a call to quickly meet a lady, young lady, 44 years old, caring for her grandmother and her 5 children, and her house burned down. So following, you know, the emergency rescue to the hospital, what happened next was, where did she want to go? And she didn't know. Never even thought that it would affect me, because it's going to affect somebody else, right? It's always going to be somebody else. So that was the importance of being prepared, is having that plan, knowing who you're going to call. if you do nothing else, getting that cell phone there can be $10 these days
Right.
to get those alerts. I mean, that's what we saw in the Alabama tornadoes, right? The power was out for 2 weeks. How we communicate was the cell phones.
Very good. Sherry, thank you for being here as well. Great information.
Thanks
Hope you
for
come back and see us soon. Yeah? And no disasters in between, please.
Okay.
All right.